Well, I wish I had something better to start with today. I do. But unfortunately, COVID cases in the United States are absolutely exploding thanks to not having vaccinated nearly enough Americans yet. And because of the unvaccinated doing things that they really should not be doing, plus the highly contagious Delta variant. And understandably, the vaccinated are growing increasingly furious with the unvaccinated who refuse to take the steps that everybody can take to help end this pandemic. I mean, aren't we sick of this? Wouldn't you accept and willingly and excitedly go towards an action if there was something you could do to help end this pandemic? They won't get vaccinated. They won't wear masks, and they'll insist on large gatherings of unvaccinated people. CNN reporting that some vaccinated Americans have lost their patience with those refusing the shot as COVID-19 cases surge and mandates return. We'll tell you in a bit about what's been going on in Florida. The Washington Post reporting that, quote, vaccinated people are ready for normalcy and angry at the unvaccinated getting in their way. They claim to want everything to go back to normal. And in fact, many of them never thought we needed to depart from normal, even in May, June, whenever of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. They never wanted to do anything. And yet they won't do the things that would help us get back to normal. And you know what? It's correct to be resentful of these people. You know, at the start of the pandemic, things were crazy. We didn't know how contagious or deadly COVID was. We didn't know how much social distancing would work or to what degree masks would mitigate the spread. And there were differences of opinion in the midst of not yet having full information. And while it started to become clear that there were some bad faith actors, there were still more unknowns about what needed to be done. And then when it became clear, well, okay, yeah, the masks we need. We need to stop large indoor gatherings. The bleaching your papayas, that didn't make sense. But these other things did. And we learned more and more, and they still didn't do anything. Then it was frustrating, I think is the way I would describe it. And then the vaccines became completely widely available. I mean, in a way that other countries can only dream of. And a ton of those other countries are desperate for vaccines. And yet here, you have tens of millions of people who just won't get vaccinated. Instead, they are more interested in spreading vaccine disinformation and conspiracy theories wildly, irresponsibly, and humiliatingly. That's their choice. And so now we have another surge. It's mostly unvaccinated people getting sick and mostly unvaccinated people getting seriously sick and overwhelmingly unvaccinated people dying. But not only COVID is here, it's endemic, and we are now stuck with these people in a veritable idiocracy. So now it is anger, and now it is resentment, and now it's fury, and it's desperation, and the world looks at us and wonders, what on earth is going on over there? We're desperate for vaccines. We want, oh, wow, I think Joe Biden just sent like 4 million vaccines to Nigeria, maybe it was, small numbers. We have hundreds of millions. You just walk in and you get vaccinated and you're almost certain not to get seriously sick from COVID, and they won't do it. So I have to tell you, before this pandemic, I knew how partisan and divided the country was over political issues. But I guess naively, I thought if something serious happened, like a pandemic, we would come together and do what needs to be done across party lines. What an idiot I was. I mean, boy, was I wrong. My faith in even the most basic ability to count on the United States as a society to do simple things, wear masks when it makes sense to wear masks, get yourself vaccinated when you can, which is now for everybody who's 12 or older, play by the rules, don't spread insane conspiracy theories about a virus. My faith has been completely eroded by what we've seen. I was reminded of a Kurt Vonnegut quote that applies perfectly to our situation here in the United States. True terror is to wake up one morning and discover that your high school class is running the country. Now, my high school class was actually okay. There were lots of smart people, but a lot of my high school classmates are also spreading conspiracies on Facebook. So it's more like we've woken up and the people who had no business running a lemonade stand in high school are now running the country. And part of it has to be past generations didn't have such ready access to misinformation and conspiracies about anything that happened. Like they had it with a lot of stuff. There was war propaganda, whatever. But now there is no break to the signal boost. If you get a notion in your head that the vaccines are evil and Bill Gates and whatever, you can just go on Facebook or wherever and you can find information that just reinforces that harebrained belief, where in times past, on some issues, there's always been propaganda, but on some issues, there was not such an easy way to signal boost any crazy notion that you had. You don't really want to accept the science? Well, here's a full social media platform from Uncle Bob, and you can choose to just insulate yourself with that stuff. So we are in real trouble here. And as I've been telling you guys, we are starting to see this Delta wave pass in Europe. I mentioned I'm going to be in Spain next week, and we'll have some great guest hosts here. It looks like Spain, UK, and other places, they are seeing a rapid decline after the Delta variant took hold there as vaccination continues. And many of these countries, including Spain, have surpassed the US in percentage of people vaccinated. We'll look at those numbers a little later. It's not clear how long the numbers are going to continue worsening in the United States. We're at 100,000 cases a day again, and we'll look at that a little bit later. Florida, it's unconscionable what's happening. Record hospitalizations in Florida, like record going all the way back to the beginning. So we're in real trouble, and it's correct. It makes sense that the resentment of the people who just choose not to get vaccinated is growing dramatically. One of our sponsors today is Blue Chew, a unique online service delivering the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. And they're giving my audience an entire month's supply for free. So if you think you could benefit from an extra boost of confidence when it's time, all you have to do is take a short quiz on their website. A licensed doctor approves your prescription. The medication comes straight to your home within days in a discreet package. No driving around to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. No waiting around. No awkward conversations with your doctor. All of Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. The entire process is just a few clicks. Go to bluechew.com. The link is underneath this video. They'll give you an entire month's supply for free when you use the promo code PACMAN. All you have to do is pay $5 shipping.